Let's talk about next year then for just a brief bit, because you've got 3 young men who signed national letters of intent that I think a lot of Friar fans who are in the know in terms of the recruiting are very, very excited about. Certainly there's Gerard Coleman, there's Ron Gipley, and there's a young man by the name of Joseph Young who is absolutely torching the competition in the state of Texas with his high school at Houston Yates.
Well, he plays for an incredible high school team, one with several Division I players, and I know they just put up 170 points.
Can you imagine that? A high school game now, 8-minute quarters, right? In high school.
8-minute quarters.
And they scored 170 points, which, by the way, is a record in the state of Texas for high school basketball.
Yes.
They scored 100 in one half. One half, 100 points.
They're getting some negative publicity about their scoring, but they're also playing all 15 players. And so in my mind, what they do is they press. That's all they do. They press and run and get up and down. And so you're playing your bench. You know, most of their starters in these games have not been even playing in the second half at all. And so that's what they do. And so I don't see how you're too upset about it when they beat you and they put up a lot of numbers.
He's scoring well over 30 points a game, Joe is.
You know, it's kind of like when we get beat and the other team is pressing us late or scoring late, it doesn't do any good to complain about it. You just get better. Make it motivate you to be better as a team, and that's what we're going to look at to do. And I think that's why he's a good fit for our team, because he knows how to play in that up-tempo style. And when you can shoot the ball, you can play about anywhere. If you're a great shooter, you can play for a long time at this game, and obviously we need some guys that are able to put it in the basket.
For those that don't know, Joseph Young is the son of former Phi Slamma Jamma star Michael Young, who played at the University of Houston back in the 1980s, and obviously was drafted by the Boston Celtics, and he's now an assistant at the University of Houston. So there was a little bit of controversy over him deciding to come to Providence as opposed to staying home and playing for Tom Penders and his dad at the University of Houston. But as I understood it, he really wanted to try to push his game to the next level. He wanted to play in a league like the Big East. He also wanted to get away from home a little bit.
Well, I think most players, will look to try to play at the highest level possible. And so what we've got to do is, as we look at them, there'll be some players out there that won't have the high major offers, that won't have the Kentuckys and UCLAs and Duke recruiting them, but more of a mid-major level. That doesn't mean that we can't look at those guys. We're not going to just recruit against the teams in our league. We've got to recruit the players that are going to make us successful. And so when you look at Vincent Council and Duke Monday on our team, those are the 2 least recruited kids on our entire team. Duke did not have a high major offer. Vincent, very late, was us and Rutgers, I believe, that we're looking at him. And yet those guys are going to have great careers at Providence. And I think you've got to make sure that when you recruit and when you do your work, it's not just on ratings. It's what you really believe through your own recruiting evaluation.
I've seen a couple of national writers who cover the prep beat, high school beat, starting to mention Joe Young along the lines of a McDonald's All-American, that he should get some nominations, the McDonald's committee should look at that. Does that help you? If somebody is off the radar and they all of a sudden come in and get notoriety like that, or does it really make a difference?
I think what'll help, sometimes it'll help the player if all of a sudden they get nominated to a McDonald's All-American game or the Michael Jordan game, because it'll motivate them to work even harder. Other times they feel like they're already there. Once they get that level and they think, oh, I might be a one-and-done guy. How many players out there in the country that are high school players think they're going to go to college for 1 year and make the NBA?
Every one of them.
A lot of them do. A lot of them do. And a lot of them that get, a lot lower offers than going to the Big East. Sure. They think they're going to come in and score 20, 25 points and be gone. And that's kind of the thing we live in right now. But I think what we're going to do is, as we recruit, we're not just going to recruit talent. We're going to recruit kids coming in here that are going to have their head on their shoulders, and they're going to be focused on what we can do to be successful as a team. And when your team's successful, there's enough notoriety to go around, enough awards and accomplishments that they'll be real successful after Providence College.
All right, well, I've spent the time obviously talking about Joe Young just because of the spectacular numbers he's putting on. Can you give us an update on Coleman and Gipley?
Well, I think all of our recruits are having incredible years, which is nice that we're we're sold on them about how good that our recruits can be for us. But it's also nice that they're putting up the numbers and they're having the success, because, you know, you're going to miss on some guys. Guys aren't going to live up to their billing, and you just understand that that's part of recruiting, that it happens earlier and earlier. So we've got to make sure that when we get a commitment, especially for the future, now that we've been here and we've got our recruiting, working 2-3 years in advance, that we're not offering somebody that we've seen twice. Or once, or that's just rated high on a thing. It's because we've been in the gym, we've been working, we've seen them play on multiple occasions, and that our entire staff is sold that they can be a great player in the Big East for us.
All right, for our fans, once again, we are broadcasting from Twist Restaurant on Bald Hill Road, right off of Route 2 here in Warwick. If you come on by here for the next 20 minutes, you can register for tickets for the Rutgers game coming up this Saturday night, 8 o'clock tip-off at the Dunkin' Donuts Center. We'll pause here for a timeout. When we come back, we'll let some of the fans here, if they like, come up and state a couple of questions for the coach. And we're also going to visit with the fine folks from the Pinelli Morrow Restaurant Group who are hosting us here tonight, and we'll get some insight as to what they're all about in terms of their corporate support for Providence College. We're, again, in Warwick here at Twist, and we'll return with more on 103.7 WEEI FM.